Hello, and welcome to Enigmatic. I've never really felt like I've had a lot of direction in life, and I find that I encounter the same thing in doing this activity, doing this project, sharing these videos. So here's another stream of consciousness, just a river of thought. I say at the end of every video to be good to you, and it's funny to me because I'm not always the best to myself. And so while I say that to you, the viewers, the listeners, it's also something I try to remind myself of. But in some ways, and maybe deeply I do, but in some ways I don't feel like I know what that really is, being good to myself. I tend to feel that I need to be justified in doing so. And so I think that I have to say, be productive and get things done. I am a responsible person and I feel like a lot rides on me. And I think that's where some of that comes from. Some of it definitely also comes from things that I dealt with in my childhood. But I really have to sit back and figure out what that means to me. I have days where I'm feeling very, very down. I might have a putrid mood, and I will do what I call self-care. And that's being good to myself. But it's only when I'm doing very, very poorly that I take that initiative. And so, why is it that I don't take that initiative at other times? And it's something that I've been working on for a very long time. I did share that I have my mental health struggles and battles, and I think I manage everything pretty well overall. But deep down is what I'm with all the time, and that deep place is not always pleasant. Sometimes it's rarely pleasant. It's actually a reason why I keep to myself very often. Um, is a way to not make others deal with my bullshit. But this gets in the way of everything that I want to do, everything that I'd like to do to fulfill me. And with my life as it is now, I definitely don't feel that I have the time to do the things that would fulfill me. So it's good that I'm doing this now, getting my thoughts out, sharing my experience in the hopes that it'll positively impact someone else as I work on myself in doing this. Like there's like huge hangups that I have about doing what I want to do. I like to be a humble person. I try not to have a lot of arrogance, but at the same time, maybe my standards are too rigorous or too rigid. But then it's like, how do we change that? It's a part of my mind as my mind is now, and I do a lot of work with the subconscious and unconscious. But sometimes I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels. And I know part of it is because I have a very hard time giving myself credit for anything. An example would be that I have a college degree, and when I graduated, I didn't walk. I didn't even tell anybody that I graduated. So it's kind of funny that over a decade after the fact, people are still coming to realize that I did graduate and I do have a degree, and then they choose to congratulate me on it. And then I wonder if I even deserve any congratulations, because I was naive and ignorant in college, and I didn't really realize where I was and what I was doing and how the world worked. And I feel like I kind of squandered it. Um, I don't feel that I put very much effort into my degree. And that is not supposed to be a humble brag by any means. Um, it's something that I carry a little bit of shame about. And, we live in a society where they say, like, I have no shame, or you shouldn't feel any shame. And I actually kind of disagree with that because the feeling and experience of shame is a teachable moment for us. And so I think that we should be a bit more contextual with regards to how we think about shame. An example would be say thousands of years ago, when most people were hunter-gatherers, you're in a group, and say you're a male, and you have to go out and hunt, and you do a terrible job hunting, and you feel shame about it. What does that shame do for you in that instance? Well, it helps you to have motivation to become a better hunter so that you don't feel shame within your group or your tribe or your collective. And so societally, there is a utility to shame, I find. But in a highly individualistic, country, um, people try to avoid just the emotions that are hard to deal with. Um, so going back to the topic, yeah, I feel a lot of shame for what I feel I squandered, because I actually went to college on scholarship and didn't even try my best. Now, at the same time, I experienced a freedom that I had never experienced before. Um, I really felt like there was kind of a boot on my neck growing up all the time, and I didn't feel very comfortable taking risks. And so, without that boot and with kind of the freedom that I had at that time, I wilded out a little bit. And I mean, I wasn't, extra ridiculous or reckless or anything like that, but I was definitely distracted and unfocused. Um, but then at the same time, I mentioned that, I acknowledged that, and I still graduated, yet I can barely give myself any credit for that. So that's something, maybe I should work on. Maybe I should feel a little bit better about myself and my accomplishments. But it's a very foreign place for me, in the entire time that I've been working on my mental health, which has been over a decade that I've been actively working on it. Giving myself credit and feeling good about the things that I do is just, it's enigmatic. Um, so, just some thoughts. Just really sharing some thoughts. It's very interesting too. I haven't talked much about psychedelics yet, but it's something that I want to dive into a bit more. I do want to say, first and foremost, that while I am very much involved with psychedelics and in the psychedelic fray in a few different communities, as well as a guide worker for a center, I don't necessarily recommend that anybody uses psychedelics the way that I do. It's something that I've been using for a while, for a variety of reasons. But I think that we should all kind of tread our own path. And so that being said, one thing that helps me very, very, very often are certain psychedelic medicines. In particular, the plant medicines and entheogens known as DMT and also Harmalas. DMT, and dimethyltryptamine to be exact. And I say that because 5-MeO DMT, people see DMT and then they see DMT and assume that there is a correlation of experience. And you can kind of see this in society with regards to how people say, like, one is the spirit molecule and the other is the God molecule. And it seems that people kind of forget that, that is just a nomenclature and that the experiences might not necessarily align in a comparative way. And so I kind of find such comparisons similar to comparing apples and oranges. And also, there's other DMT molecules that we're not considering when we kind of lump these things together. So psilocybin and psilocin are also DMT molecules. One's 4-PO-DMT and the other is 4-HO-DMT or 4-OH-DMT. It's one or the other. It's oxygen and a hydrogen. But they're all very different from each other, except for psilocin and psilocybin. Psilocybin converts to psilocin in the body once you ingest it, and those are the active components of magic mushrooms, particularly psilocybe cubensi mushrooms, as well as a few other varieties and species. And that distinction is important because Amanita muscaria, those red and white ones that are popular, to see, not necessarily to eat, but in depiction, They are also psychoactive, but it's a very different component that makes them psychoactive. Anyway, so Harmalas are beta carbolines. They're REMAs, which are reversible MAOs, which are MAOIs, which are monoamine oxidase inhibitors. Monoamine oxidase is an enzyme in your gut that breaks down certain molecules that enter your system. So in ayahuasca, uh, one needs to have both the Harmalas and the DMT for the DMT to be orally active. Otherwise, the MAO, monoamine oxidase, in the gut will break down DMT and there will be no effect. So now that that little bit is out of the way, DMT and Harmalas I do consider to be my sacraments. They do me a great deal. I seem to do a great deal for them. And it's a very beautiful reciprocity of a relationship. But at the same time, even though I have that view and that perspective, and it's something that helps me a great deal with my mental health and my mood, I have a hard time getting myself to do it. Um, if I think about doing it, or like say, early in the day I plan to do it because I'm like, oh, it's been a hard day, or it's been a while since I've taken a journey and explored the space as well as explored myself. Um, I noticed that there is this subconscious and unconscious kind of algorithm that starts to move through my mind that I have to stifle. And what that algorithm often does is it tries to convince me why I should not embark on a journey, why I should stay away from it. And it's interesting because I tend to push through and push past that experience in order to get my medicine in me. And sometimes, like I use the term medicine, but there's times where I just want to journey because I'm a psychonaut and I like to explore those spaces, um, explore the potentials of this reality, as well as the inner workings of my own mind. But I feel this need to be able to justify it and for this justification to be understandable, and that my understanding for some reason is just not good enough. Um, so it's a very big obstacle, and this happens with a great many things for me. I grew up playing a great deal of music. I was a trumpet player. I played a little bit of French horn and a little bit of baritone as well. And I have a horn now, but I end up feeling like I'm wasting my time trying to play it instead of realizing that it's good for the soul. And so I just share all this because I'm sure I'm not alone in dealing with some of these things and feeling like I'm unworthy or that I haven't met my own standards in order to do the things that I want to do. But you know, we have to take care of ourselves. Um, and this is a little bit easier for me to share and explore right now because I did just work and interact with some DMT and Harmalas, which is always, good for me, even the challenging experiences. And so it's like, what do we do? I know that I don't know, but I'll keep trying to figure it out. So that's all for today. Wasn't much, but as always, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. Be good to you, be good to others. Much love, and take care. We'll see you next time.